What's up, everybody? We are here live, back for another WOM episode with the one, the only Mccall.
Welcome.
Owner of many things, master of many things, certifiably one of the coolest people, the coolest things happening in Birmingham right now. We're really honored to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's really nice. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think that of me.
Of course, yeah. Okay, so like I said earlier, we love getting to talk about like really cool things that are going on in Birmingham, specifically because we love this place. We also really, really love getting to like flex our friends and like show them off to the world for our little Birmingham community of listeners. And yeah, so we're really excited to talk about all things going on in your world. I was thinking about this on the way over here. This is really the only thing I prepared was this thought. Okay. You know, I think a lot of times in my life, I seek out cool people. Like I notice that they're cool from afar, and then I'm like, oh, I got to become friends with them. And then sometimes in life, those people, without any sort of desire, just, you know, they find you. Like you have no choice but to become friends with them. And I feel like that's what happened with you and I. Because I showed up at Beach Project having no real idea what Beach Project was. And then we were just kind of like, because of the way the Beach Project works, we were just immediately homies. Mm-hmm. Which I think is just crazy to this day.
Probably because I feel like we both have a similar, for lack of a better term, chill energy that we're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like at a place like Beach Project, which if you don't know, it's just a lot. I feel like that you can kind of like tell where the chill people are really quickly.
It's true.
No,
yeah.
but that's so true. I mean, I also was like cool guy, you know, right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too, like as with anyone, like, you know, looking back at myself at that year, it's hard to believe that you thought I was cool, but I'm honored though. Yeah, it was that summer was freaking crazy. Yeah, me and Mccall did this like summer internship work at the beach all summer thing in college together, and we went to different colleges, but both of our campuses, UNA and Sanford, were at the same like place at the beach, and we hung out, and we went to a elderly prom.
We did. Wow, I forgot
it was fun.
about that.
Yeah. But that's how I met Mccall, and Myers just met Mccall 5 minutes ago.
We did.
Whenever he walked into the room.
In this room, yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's been a great time.
Is there anything I should know about you, Mccall, as we've just met?
You know, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite question to ask people when I meet
like,
them. Is there anything I need to know about you?
Right, like a disclaimer to me as a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just think I would say, to sum myself up, I'm just going with the flow. So
good. Cool.
Yeah.
Myers, is there anything that Mccall needs to know about you? I'm so curious how you're going to answer this question.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it as I asked the question on a podcast where I would probably then be asked the same question, because I've never had someone ask me that question, which makes me then feel the like discomfort that I'm trying to instill, if that makes sense.
Backfiring on you, yeah.
So, I really like talking to and meeting people, and most of my aims in life are me trying to meet and understand as many people as I possibly can.
You know, I was talking to...
Okay, well, now I feel really shallow.
Sorry,
Myers loves people, and Mccall likes going with the flow.
I'm also... clearly, I'm very... I wax philosophical maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah.
That too.
I like doing that, but I love that about you. Thanks. I feel like I know you better now, so thank you.
Now you
thank
do.
You.
Yeah.
No,
that is a very fascinating thing when you consider, like, how do you express yourself to someone when you meet them for the very first time?
Like, are you the guy at the party who's, like, getting to something really deep?
So when I went to, this is a brief story to summarize. Steven and I, one of our best friends, got married back in March of last year.
Shout out Elijah.
Elijah and Ibby.
They're with child now.
They have a child, which is amazing.
Married last March with child
have
today.
a child today.
February of 2025.
So
Wow.
we go to their wedding, and it's like a wedding basically filled with all of our best friends, and everyone's kind of mingling and dancing and doing all the things. And there was this guy who we knew of because of Elijah, who Elijah worked for, and me and Stephen both admired him a lot. He primarily makes lighting fixtures.
Yeah.
Cool.
And is like an industrial designer. His name's Andrew Nyer. And we saw him, and we were like, I think that's Andrew Nyer. And we've known about this dude for like maybe a year or two because of Elijah.
Yeah.
And so our wives are sitting at the table, we're eating dinner, and we were like, I think we should go meet this guy who we've wanted to meet for years at this point. So we both just walked up and we're like, hey, are you Andrew Nyer? Hey, I'm Myers and Steven. And then we talked to him.
Together, we said it in
yeah,
unison.
Myers and Steven sounds like a law firm.
Yeah, it is our law firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do podcast law.
We deal with
Media
with law.
Yeah. So we ended up talking to him primarily for like the rest of the wedding until he left, and then we like reassimilated into dancing with friends and
Got
stuff.
it.
And we did like deep talking about like the purpose of work and like your aims with it and like self-limiting and all
You're the
that
kind of
good
guy
stuff.
that would like send me a Substack to read.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
I
What
I
got me
kind of
pinned
person
down.
are you at the party, McCall?
Oh, at the party.
That's a funny
wasn't
way.
expecting that.
Are you the guy at the party who
I just
fill
feel
in
like
the blank?
Yep.
yeah.
Who ends the conversation by sending you a Substack. Yes.
Like, you gotta read the Substack.
You got to. It'll change your life. I would say I'm definitely having fun. Like I feel like I am also a very deep person, but I am not that person talking. Actually, you just never know. Like if someone,
Right,
if
sure.
I meet someone that we just start talking and it goes wherever it goes, like then I'll totally just probably be talking about like our childhood or something together. Or I love to have fun, just like fun. Like
Just plain
if there's
fun.
like if there's music, I'm definitely dancing.
Let's freaking go.
The older I get, I don't drink as much because of health. I'm like, ugh. But that is of no hindrance. I'm still having probably more
Right.
fun
True.
than I used to have, in
Back in-
college or
back in
whatever.
Florence.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No. Yeah. Definitely healthier now, but yeah. So I would say I'm also talking to someone, but like I'm ready to go back dancing if I am. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Sure.
Yep.
That is interesting. One thing that I would love to talk about too, to dive more into like what you do in Birmingham with this new thing, is like you host these events, and you are like people come in and you're offering like a service. So, there is like something to distract people with, but to a certain extent, your events are parties. Like they are like you're hosting an event, and I would love to hear like how do you practice hospitality in those spaces? Like how are you like host? Like there's one thing if like you attend a party, you're a different character than you are when you host a party. So what is it like hosting those things?
Totally. That is like such a fantastic question because two thoughts come to mind. I never saw myself in like I have never even worked a retail job. Like,
Yeah.
As long as I've been alive on this earth.
That's funny.
Or like hardly any hospitality. It was just always like babysitting or like whatever. And then once I started my career, it was just marketing. So anyway, I had no hospitality background, but I will say, sorry, I'm gonna flip this over. I will say, one thing that comes to mind is that my previous job before I did NAN full time was director of marketing for a hospitality group here in Birmingham, and that was my first glimpse at being in the weeds with hospitality, and I was just like thinking about how much I learned in that way. Just seeing my bosses like always prioritize the person no matter what, or like whether it's like just like welcoming like to them, like a restaurant is their home that they're welcoming people into, and like if something happens or basically like any short-term financial loss is worth it to make that person feel better if something bad happened, or to just go out of your way to make them feel special, and it will pay dividends in the long run, and just things like that. I learned so much, 'cause even though I was doing marketing, I just saw that so up close. So that stuck with me. And then when I first moved to Birmingham, I always loved parties, have always loved parties, and I love hosting. Like my friend Lily and I, when we lived together in Florence, we just love a house party. It's just like so fun. But anyway, wait, where was I going with that? Wait, what was I saying before that? Sorry.
You were explaining about at least the question was, how do you host these parties? And you were talking about,
I remember. Maybe you can cut that out. Also, when I came to Birmingham, I was like, I love. Well, I'm gonna be honest. At that time, I didn't love Birmingham. I thought it was lame to come back to this.
Are you from here?
I was.
Okay.
I grew up mostly here.
She was a Spain Park Jaguar growing up.
Yes, I was.
Gotcha.
Go Jags. So I just didn't want to come back to like my hometown. I was ready. Even though Florence was smaller, it was still nice to get away, and there's super cool people there. So I was just like, oh, this is so lame. But I wanted to be near my family, and my sister got pregnant, and I was so excited to be an aunt, whatever. So I'm here. I'm not exactly thrilled to be here. So but I was like, you know what's really, at the time, I was like, what redeems Birmingham is the people. And like, I knew so many awesome, specifically women. So I started this thing called Boys Club, which the name is just ironic for no reason. It was women only. So no boys were allowed.
I love that.
But yeah, it's called Boys Club. And it's so funny looking back. It's just a similar setup where like once a month thing, but basically I would choose a different theme for each month and have like a snack, an activity, the location changed every time. Like everything was tailored to this theme. And I just started an Instagram, started an email list. I would send out emails that I like had so much fun for no reason curating these like emails. But it was like the first taste of kind of, I just wanted all these awesome women in a room together. The point of me saying that is I didn't realize I had that. Like I love when people gather, but I didn't realize I loved it that much to where I would be the one doing it. Like if it's not already happening, I will do it.
Yeah.
So in other times in my life, other people had been doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started Boys Club, and that was like the first taste of like a similar thing I do now through NAN, in that they're like relational. Like I really appreciate everything you just said, like described about a NAN pop-up, because what I didn't see coming was how they are really like it's like a community thing. It's like a people thing more than just the products. So I actually sent out an email and officially stopped doing Boys Club because I couldn't do both. But I said in that email, like, NAN's done what I wanted from Boys Club anyway. So like, just come to these pop-ups. Yeah.
So whenever you were like out of Boys Club, was there like an insufficiency in Boys Club? Like in your desire of like being a creator and like wanting to post things, and that's kind of like how NAN came out of that? Or that was also something I was curious about, or was NAN just a completely separate idea?
Completely separate. Yeah, it was just it was like I went on a personal journey of kind of going back to my roots, back to what I love, which are clothes.
Yeah.
Since I was like 4 years old, my mom tells stories about like every day I would like come to the top of the stairs with a new outfit, and I would demand that everyone in my family come look at my outfit that day.
It's like probably sequined cowboy boots and like a white t-shirt.
It literally was in cat ears, and like tutus. But like she says, her biggest regret of motherhood is not taking a picture every day and having those. But anyway, so NAN was like totally separate. Like I'm not kidding. I could not have anticipated what NAN has become. I just personally was like, I've never in my whole career done something I love truly, and so I had to finally I had to like take myself seriously, and I had to truly give myself permission to want to work with clothes and work in fashion, because it felt unrealistic in Birmingham. It felt frivolous even to like say. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Like move to New York and just be scrappy? And it just, the whole thing just sounded like so like funny. And then I finally took myself seriously. So it didn't really have to do with the vibe and the community and the gathering part. It was just like, I just got to a place where I was like, I have to do what I love or else I'm going to like jump off this building.
Was there a specific moment or like thing that happened that pushed you over the edge?
I knew it was that there's like a couple things, and to be honest, I can't say what they were, but there were a couple things that felt very serendipitous to me that all happened this summer, both in my work life and in my personal life. And yeah, but even though regardless of what they were specifically, them all happening at the same time, and me kind of like I haven't told anyone this. I had been to the creek that day. I love going to the creek. And
when you say the creek, do you just mean like the what do you mean the creek?
Yeah, like any spot at like the like because in Florence,
cool.
I used to go. Our house was like right by our creek there from like
the
other
like,
creek.
Tennessee, right.
Yeah,
just the creek.
So you were at the creek.
So I was at the creek, and my point in saying that is that on the way I was way down. I was by like Crybaby Bridge, so I was stopping at this thrift store that's way down 280, and I was like, and honestly, it's so funny because I don't even really thrift that much for NAN anymore, but I was just there for fun, and I just like found one amazing piece after another, and I literally was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like, and I already had like what I would at the time was not calling inventory, but I just like am always looking for like amazing pieces, like in my subconscious, like I'll buy them even if it's not for me. So the business model makes perfect sense because now I get to do that for people.
Yeah, you get to be paid to do that.
Correct. It's actually, I can't believe I'm here, but yeah. So I just was like, everything I found that day, like it was really amazing. It was like the best. I was like, oh my gosh, I've struck gold. And so I just bought everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I started NAN with zero capital. The whole thing has been on credit. So I just bought everything and started talking to my friends. Like, I'm just going to do a pop-up. And I didn't even know like what I meant by that, but I was like, I'm just going to do a pop-up. I love I have amazing pieces, both vintage, modern, a couple of designer pieces, and our dear friend Kellen, who has also been on this podcast.
Yes, love Kellen.
Amazing, wonderful barbershop. And I actually think it was Abby, his wife, who was like, what if you did it at Zephyr? I think it was her that said that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Kellen was like, sure, because they don't, they're not open on Saturdays. So I just, on my personal Instagram, promoted it and like showed some pieces, and I actually archived those. I might bring them back into the zeitgeist later, but like because I went back and looked, and I was so like I was cringing so hard at myself because you just have no sense of like, you know, now it's so refined.
Yeah.
Well, it's like actually has still a little bit no rhyme or reason, but you feel the brand.
It's being refined.
Yeah, like there's a like NAN has become someone. Anyway, like the beginning was just so funny, but yeah, I just like started posting, and
so like when you say you posted it, this is something that I'm curious about too, because Myers and I have thought a lot about like taking the idea of like like in a very simple way to do it. Like online, you see people hosting these like beautiful events, whether it's on like Instagram or whether it's on Pinterest or whether it's just like, I guess there's only two places, or YouTube or whatever. And then you look around Birmingham, it's like nobody's doing anything. It's just kind of like this is another thing I'm really excited to talk to you about that we talked about at June, like 2 days ago. And then I am so terrified of doing an event in Birmingham because I think that no one will come. And I don't know if that's like, I think that's like really lazy of me, and I'm still trying to like process this. So help me, Mccall. When you posted these things, you were like, hey, I'm selling clothes at Zephyr on Saturday.
Yes.
Like, what was the feeling like when you did it and then like people showed up and bought stuff? Like, 'cause that's very different than like, obviously it's a cool idea, but you did it and then people like actually showed up. Like, how did that happen?
So I will say, if it's something that's not already cool by nature. If there's not already a brand, if there's not already a concept,
Yeah.
then, which was me at the time, what helped me was the foot traffic next door at June Coffee and on the other side at Last Call Bakery.
Sure.
So they just, I didn't even have signs. I didn't have anything. People were just like, the door was open and music was playing. So people just like walked in and were like, oh, cool. And like, and honestly, the affirmation I got on that very first time of people saying like, you have amazing stuff. Like, I love your pieces. Like,
Sure.
Do you do this? Are you going to do this again? That was
Confirmation.
Yeah. Like I would have for sure. It just been like a one-time thing. If even with that, what I look back on as like average collection.
Yeah.
There were some great pieces and like that, people saying that was so helpful, but like, I agree. I talk to people all the time about how I feel like Birmingham, like if you're in a city, like, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. Just a bigger city, like Chicago, for example. Maybe, I actually haven't been to Atlanta in like a really long time. I was born there, but anyway, Chicago, New York, whatever. You're in like a fun big city.
Yeah.
You go out with the intentions of meeting new people. Like, you will, you know, they will be from all over, whether you're with a group or only like one other person. Like you end up talking to people. It's just part of the experience. Whereas here, a lot of people have their groups. They grew up together. They went to school together, whatever it is. They go out with each other. They go home with like, there's not like an understood like vibe where you're going to talk to new groups. There's just not like at our like 5 bars.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it is kind of hard, but I will say Birmingham people actually really, 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 really do show up when it's like I said, when there's like a concept. Like, I feel like Birmingham people need to be convinced a little bit more, but like, for example, which like, I mean, Hannah has made a name for herself, but even when the Hannah, who owns and bakes for Last Call Bakery, she did a pop-up menu with Golden Age, and like they were sold out like almost, you know, because people like, I think there's not enough events here that people get so excited when there are. So I think if you can just either have like a reputation or make the concept like cool, I feel like people do show up. It's just not as like in the like heartbeat, in the fabric of everyday life here.
Yeah.
You know,
We should get the guy from Old Delhi to come on.
We should.
What's that?
That guy,
He's doing he works at Slim's. Is that right?
tall guy with mustache, kind of long hair. They're tall, skinny dude.
I've only been to Slim's in Mountain Brook.
Yeah.
Maybe I would know if I saw him.
He's
This
doing
guy-
like a super dressed up deli, like really high end sandwiches basically. And he's using bread that Hannah has
That's
baked.
so cool.
So it's kind of like
He's like part of the world.
he's a part of the whole restaurant world. So like you go to an Old Deli pop up and like Golden Age guys are there. Like everybody who works at Helen is there.
Right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's
Golden
super
Age is
cool.
also just like genuinely one of the coolest things happening in Birmingham too.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome.
They're so great.
Yeah, that is really cool though. Like that, you know, you can just like point your finger and know like, oh well, or you like, you know, the foot traffic from like June on Saturday, which is crazy. Like between Last Call and June, like so many, like hundreds of people walk through there every weekend. So that is cool that you're able to like sell at Zephyr, and it was like literally nothing was going on in there and stuff. I think that is so cool. Kellen really wants me to DJ at Zephyr one day. I think that would be pretty fun.
Oh, please do.
I think that would be so cool. So
That would be sick.
that's another random Zephyr
That would be awesome.
thing. But also like it would be really fun to do that on Saturday. I don't really know if like people would like dance at like 10 a.m., you know, but the vibes could still be high.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
Absolutely.
a listening room concept.
Yeah, listening room concept. You can bring your coffee in and just listen.
Listen.
Yeah, that would actually be sick if you brought a sick sound system in there and just did dub techno.
I think you should do something of the like, because I rented out June for my birthday party.
No way.
And I had a DJ. Do you know Micah?
Mm-mm.
What's his last name? I forget. Shout out Micah.
Shout out that guy.
Yeah, he's a great DJ. Anyway, and like it was freaking litty. It was, but like June, like with Zephyr, it would be more like it's just like the one the one square, whereas June people could kind of be on,
Like go in and
but
out.
like, so I feel like people be more committed to the music as ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was really fun.
Dude, that's cool. Though. I didn't know that Jimmy lets people rent out their.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that because
Sure, that might have been a private thing.
I was.
I've inquired about renting the space for things before. I don't think that's an unknown to Jimmy.
Has he?
He gave me like a rate, and I said no for. I think it was for my engagement party.
Oh, cool.
Anyway,
I didn't know that. Awesome for that.
You
guy.
can probably rent out any space if you give the person money.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be
for
mad.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Just an idea.
Dude, that'd be so sick to rent out and DJ in June at night. Oh my gosh, I might do that. Be on the lookout for that word of mouthers.
Be on the lookout.
Where did the name NAN come from?
Yeah.
So I wanted to.
Or is it? Do you say NAN or do you say NAN curated?
No, I just say Nan.
Okay.
I have since realized that it's really good that I made my Instagram handle include curated because, like, for the website too, it's just
Getting NAN would be a really expensive domain.
oh my god, I tried it and I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no, yeah, I just say Nan. But I was just I wanted it because like my name Mccall is a pretty unique name, I would say.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to do something with McCall, but I was like, I don't know what that would even be. And my middle name is Ann, A-N-N. And so I was trying to combine, like take parts of each. So for a while I wanted it to be Callan, C-A-L-L from McCall, and then A-N from Ann. I don't know. I just was like, oh, put those together. Like, I don't know. But I kind of felt like it sounded like a Southern, like, frat bro. And I love Southern frat bros, but I was just like, I don't know, like Callan. And then there's the whole like, I hate when you're not exactly sure how to say it. And some people do say non, but I'm like, come on. That would have been too. Did you say non?
I did not.
Oh, okay. You were giving me a look.
No.
I
agree with you.
No hate. If you say that.
Yeah, if you say non, McCall wants to punch you in the face, but like pretty much.
It's okay. It took my grandmother like a really long time to stop saying non. Anyway. But yeah, with Callan, I was like, they might think it's Callan. Like, I was just like, I don't know.
Kellen would never shut up about it. Yeah.
So true. So then I just kept rearranging my name, and I just took Ann, A-N-N, and
Bang.
swapped. Yeah. And to be so honest, no one liked Nan.
Really?
No one liked it. I was, field testing, and yeah, all of
You're
my
split testing?
all of my loved ones were like, they were like, oh, Nan. They were like, Nan, like
the Southern
like
way of saying, like, we don't like this.
This is shit.
Yeah.
No, they're like, oh, like a kind of like the grandma name. And my one friend, Lily, shout out. She was like, she immediately got it, and I knew she would. She was like, yeah. Like it's like cool, even though it's not. And also, to everyone else's defense, I was just saying it to them they didn't have any visuals, and like in my mind, the word Nan is grandma-y, but I was pairing it with like extremely modern branding.
Yeah.
So it's like an ode to the vintage clothes, but also the whole vibe is like super fresh, super modern silhouettes even too. So like I loved the combo. Anyway, since I went with Nan, everyone loves it. They love the name. I'm like, where were y'all when I was like, should I do Nan?
Yeah.
But anyway, honestly, that was my first like lesson that I've learned this like 10 times over, but your gut, just like to always go with your gut. Like it's crazy how hard it is to listen and to act on it. 'Cause like asking opinions is just like, I don't know. It's I didn't realize how hard it would be to trust your gut, but that was lesson 1. And
it is crazy, like how many anecdotes there are for, as the creator, do the thing that you think is best. Don't listen to your customers. Just as many anecdotes as listen to your customers, don't follow your gut. Like they contradict each other constantly. So it's weird to figure out when to trust one versus the other.
It is. And I feel like creatively, honestly, actually, I don't really have much to say on that because I feel like creatively, like customer wise, I have trusted the cold hard facts and like what they tell me and what they are buying or not buying. But then creatively and like vibe, branding, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, where like kind of more abstract stuff. Luckily, it has landed well with them. So it's been a good, like, it is hard, but like I guess I've appreciated the fact that, and that's why it's felt like such a fun relationship with me and these Birmingham people, because it's like I put something out and to have them love it is like the coolest relationship ever. But yeah, I mean, there are things that like I had a lot of I mean, not a lot, but like 3, which is a good, like, more than,
More than 0.
more than 0, 1 or 2. But still, it's like, it might have even been like 3 or 4, but plus size women say, I couldn't find anything. You need to get some bigger sizes. And so I was like, you got it. I'll get bigger sizes. So stuff like that is like 100%. The listening to the feedback is like everything. But yeah, creatively, it's like a weird line to.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'm saying I'm just lucky they've liked what I've done creatively. Because if they didn't, I would be like, how do I trust myself? If
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like the Creative Act, the Rick Rubin book. Have you read that?
Mm-mm.
You would eat that stuff up, especially because you are becoming an artist. Like that is what people are going to refer to you as if you continue to do this, especially if you keep buying for other people, if that's like where it's going to like take you. But Rick Rubin is like talks about a lot how if anybody's like, this is like the most like best-selling art book in the, so I feel like someone who's listening is definitely gonna be like, why are you, shut up. But anyways, Rick Rubin was talking about how you, like, as an artist, as soon as you make someone else's opinion of it the definer of quality, then it's their art, it's not yours. Like if somebody else's, if you like make a painting, and somebody else is like, I don't like that, and you think like, oh, I got to change it, then you're just like helping them make their own art. And it's like the beauty of one of those beautiful parts about art is like it forces you, if you're appropriately looking at it, in my opinion, it forces you to consider, why did that artist make that? Like, what did it take in their life to do that? And I think that there is like a beautiful aspect of art, like the most beautiful aspect of art is when you can consider that and then relate with it and be like, oh my gosh, they considered, or they took time to process this through some sort of medium, and then I relate with it. So I don't know, I think that it's like really cool too, like especially like that's one of the most beautiful parts about like females in fashion too, is like, because clothes is just like more stereotypically like part of the female like experience growing up, that like sometimes when Gracie talks to people about fashion, she talks about it in these like whimsical, like colorful ways that I just like don't understand, honestly. Like, other than like sometimes like my grandfather like wore these like huge glasses growing, like these 70s glasses growing up, and like literally and I like to this day like that, I can see those glasses and I don't think about whether or not the glasses are like aesthetic. I'm like, that is just so legendary. Like those, like my grandfather freaking was a beast in those. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense at all what I'm saying.
It does.
But I feel like that's one of the most beautiful parts about clothing being the medium that you can use, is like you with your eye have taken time to process like, oh my gosh, this is good, or like this is a beautiful piece. And then someone can come into the space and appreciate like the fact that you found that because of whatever reason, and then like do it. So I think that it's like really cool, but to a certain extent, like you have to give them it in a medium that they can consume in some way. Like you're giving it to them in clothing that they can literally take home and wear. Or like an artist would be able to make a piece that people could take home and hang in their own house, or like a musician obviously can like can make music, put it out into the world, and people can listen to it and interact with it and like emotionally like develop it, in their own way. Music is probably the worst example of this, because quite literally, like if like Rick Rubin, he like produced Kendrick Lamar's album, and it's like people can take a Kendrick Lamar album and it would mean like I truly will never be able to understand Kendrick Lamar, but I'm like, his music's sick. So I don't know. I think it's funny that Rick Rubin's literally like he is a music producer, and his like opinion, I feel like, or his artist thing is probably the hardest to apply to music specifically, because it's like literally only sound. But anyways, that's a very, very random little tangent there. Specifically with the name NAN, to go back to that, I think it's really cool. It's a really cool name because it's directly symmetrical. Like obviously N, A, N. And then there's also curves in all three. And I've been thinking about it a lot because there's a Montreal-based cycling brand called Cieli, and they literally added an E onto the end and made it not a word because CL, like SIEL, is sky in French, and they wanted to make it look like a guy like leaned over on a bike, so they just added an E onto the end. But anyways, it's like a beautiful logo, and I think about that because like the C and then the tall I and then the lowercase e and then the tall L and the lowercase e. So I think about that with Nan. I think it's a beautiful thing. Also, I think Ghani is an unbelievably good brand, and it just reminds me of Ghani. It feels like Ghani is one of those powerful words where it's almost like the word Ghani is almost like a statue. It's just like that's just a freaking sick thing. Nan. Like
cut that out.
I just said Ghani on anyways.
No, yeah.
Nan reminds me of that a lot for real.
Thank you. Wow, thank you. Everything you just said, I like fully understand and resonate with. It resonates with me because, well, first of all, going back to everything you were saying with like Gracie and your grandfather, that and Rick Rubin saying all that, that is so real. Like, I did not anticipate the hardest. It's like, yeah, okay, I love clothes. I love knowing about them, researching, wearing, finding whatever. But like the second you are putting out, it's like I felt like I might as well have been at that first pop-up like actually physically naked because of how vulnerable I felt. Because like, it's like, oh yeah, like I love that for so many reasons. But the second you put it out, it's like, oh my God, that's ugly as shit. Like, I don't know, like, you know.
Like, I'm an absolute failure. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Literally.
People never understand. Yeah.
Exactly. And granted, my eye has gotten better and my knowledge and my I guess just eye has gotten better. But like, I love what Rick Rubin is saying in that idea because, and thanks to the encouragement from my friends, it basically, I think at first I was like, oh, like what are y'all liking? But now I'm like, I like it's like I built a relationship with everyone. I mean, not everyone, but so many of the shoppers that now it's like they trust me. So it's like if I put it out, and that's the beauty of a brand, is like even if you wouldn't have picked it up yourself, you trust that brand, and so if they say it's a wonderful piece for whatever reason, you either reconsider or you're like, yeah, like actually, yeah, or and that's been my thing with content is like, honestly, it's requires a lot more time, friends to model my personal accessories and pieces, but I try to, I do okay, but I try to style the pieces more rather than just showing them. Yeah. Because that, like, I just think I've avoided doing that. I did avoid that for a while because you don't want to see yourself as an expert. But like in reality, if you have a vision for a piece, it's totally fine that someone else might not have that vision, and just showing them is amazing. And then they're like, oh, like, like, you know, that the phrase, you know what, hell yeah, that's been trending. I love that phrase. I feel like it applies to everything. So I feel like that's the exact mindset. If someone saw a piece styled that they thought might even would have been ugly, dare I say, I feel like they could see it and be like, you know what, hell yeah, like I could wear that, you know. So it's like, it is, I think I had to take ownership in it being art, and in my like, just like the fact that people look to me as me or the brand, but like I have a voice basically by putting out what I'm putting out. It's like if I think it's cool, they're like, okay, like maybe I should think it's cool, which is
my you know what, hell yeah moment happened recently with Solomon XT6s.
love. You didn't like them at first?
I was like, especially
have a couple
Specifically,
pairs,
there was a
honestly.
color.
Yeah, I wanted to get the brown with cream sole pair because
I
I
know
thought
what
those
you're
were
talking
super slick, and I love brown in clothes right now. And we went to New York in December, and I went to the store.
Oh my
the
God. Was
Solomon
it the store right by that Spanish tapas place next door?
I think there's only one Solomon
I
store.
think, yeah. So
I
yes.
also was in New York eating there, looked over, saw the store, walked in and bought a pair that I didn't need.
Yep.
It's an amazing store. Anyway,
Yeah,
keep
it was
going.
awesome. So I went in there and I tried to get the brown pair.
Mm-hmm.
They were sold out. So I was like, nah, none of these other colors are really doing it for me. So I left. And then the next day we went back. And,
You reconsidered.
well, fun fact, me and my wife wear the same shoe size.
Oh,
So
that's convenient.
we can wear the same shoes.
Amazing.
And so she wanted to go look and just see what colorways and stuff they had. And they had this like green and yellow color. And I was like, I don't tend to do the bright colors. She tends to do the bright colors. And she kind of swayed me on it. And we both tried them on and we were like, you know what?
Kind of sick. You know what? Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have only men's Solomons because the colorways are cooler in my opinion.
They are, I think.
The women's are also kind of cool, but like the men's are sick.
One question I wanted to ask you. Part of what made me think to have you on was after we filmed with Kellen, we hung out with Kellen and Abby for like a while at their house. And Abby was talking about you doing NAN. And she said something, I'm trying to remember exactly how she phrased it. She said something like, you were dealing with the conundrum of like you said earlier, should I just move to New York and like do something there because people are very welcoming to your sort of interests there? Or should I try and build the thing here?
Yeah.
Me and Steven deal with that conundrum
All the time.
every single day, probably, or at
Yeah.
least I do, where it's like most of my dreams and aspirations would probably work a lot faster in like Austin, Texas, or New York City or something like that.
Sure.
But then like my parents live here. My in-laws are not far from here. I love my friends here. I
You're-
don't want to leave them.
Yes. Literally speaking my language. I wanted to leave really bad. Because, like, and also, one step further, a lot of my friends are married. They're moving out to the burbs. I didn't have many downtown friends yet. They're, like, having babies, popping out kids, and I'm single. And I was like, this is, like, quite literally the last place I want to be living right now. But, just hit myself in the face. But I realized, you know, as my mother would say, I put on my big girl panties, and I was like, okay, I think a place like Birmingham, for all the other wonderful redeeming qualities it has, I think it's worth it to at least try. Like anything you're wanting, you can bring. And honestly, I think that's an amazing lesson to learn in any city and for any like concept. Like if you just keep running, I don't know. I wanted to really bad, but I look back and I'm really glad I stayed and I tried this because I think Birmingham's very receptive to local businesses and small businesses, which is like, I mean, they're like loyal and really just love it. But B, I just think it was like, I think, and that's what NAN has shown me is that there are so many cool people in the city. Like they show up to a pop-up and I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Where do you live and what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, and now literally through NAN, I have like all of my best friends that I met like this year and we hang out all the time and we all live downtown. So it's like, if you try and if you
Put yourself out
just
there.
like, yeah, literally try it. Odds are, well, I don't know. Maybe it would work or maybe it wouldn't. But I just think it's like a good life lesson that you can, and that's just like creating like creators and leaders. Like I think we all could create something, a business or just whatever. Like we're all creators. So if it's not there, I think to have that mindset, like naturally like, oh, well, I could do that instead of like, okay, well, next place, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like something that Birmingham is like I don't know, to your point of like people in Birmingham are much more prone to not intermingle or like cross like in like whatever sort of divide that people's like a few weeks ago we had my friend Miles on, and when people ask me and Miles like how we met in Birmingham, we just like met at a coffee shop and we started like hanging out. It's like it doesn't like rationally make sense to people because we didn't go to college together, we didn't do the same fraternity together, we didn't go to church together. It's just like people are like, oh, okay. And one thing that I also find fascinating about Birmingham is like even whenever I do meet someone new, we're so quick to just be like,
who do you know?
Yeah, we'd be like, oh,
where did you go to school?
Literally, like if I saw you, I'd be like, oh, like you went to UNA, you know, freaking, I don't know, I'm trying to think of someone I know from UNA. Like, oh, you know Kellen? And then we just talk about how we both like Kellen. Like people just talk about like this mutual connection and your mutual love for this person. Yeah. And I think that's super interesting. It is a very people-centered place though, so there is a benefit of that in terms of like people are really like receptive of people in Birmingham, specifically businesses who like really love Birmingham. I think Birminghamites like love places like that.
Right.
Like people love longevity here and consistency and everything like that. But yeah, that is really cool. Like these people coming out of the woodworks and they're like showing up to your stuff. Like that's awesome. Like when you've gotten to know these people this year and you've asked them like literally where have you been, or have you asked them that, and then literally where were they, or like that's like
great question. I pretty much have asked them that. Like, who are you? Where have you been? Where do you reside? All of that.
What's your address?
Yeah.
Let me come to your house right now. Basically, just the answer has been downtown. And I will say I was in 5 Points, and even moving further, like actually downtown near 2nd has made a big difference because now I just walk and they're just there. Like they're just at the restaurants, they're at the coffee shops. But like there really are like a good handful of people, like these people that I'm talking about, who they just love Birmingham so much that they know about all the fun events.
Yeah.
They're friends with all of the downtown business owners. It's like, and they're creatives. They're like photographers or influencers, whatever. The list goes on, that they just like are all creatives together and they just love Birmingham. Like, I don't know. It's basically the answer is that they've been downtown.
It's cool.
Yeah. So that's been really fun to learn and know. And then I've met people like through them, and then I've met other people through that person, and then it just like kind of is like a domino effect.
Yeah.
As a downtown liver, do you consider Crestwood downtown, or is that burbs?
To me, that's burbs because so many people are there now, like making sourdough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sourdough is burbs activity.
It is. Like Crestwood is isn't it? Like it's technically downtown though, right?
I don't know. Like we kind of consider it that.
I feel like
my family is from hardcore suburbs, like
me too,
Gardendale,
like
Hoover type.
No, I when I say downtown in social settings, I mean like you're within like a couple blocks, like you're
the
like
big
downtown.
buildings.
Yeah,
you're in a loft.
Yeah.
You don't have like
you're
a yard.
in a loft. Yeah, you do. You can't touch grass unless you go to Lynn Park or Railroad Park. That's to me like you live downtown.
Wow. What is
that harsh?
No, that's not harsh. I
don't
think
know.
that is funny.
It might offend
micro.
the guy here who lives in Crestwood.
Yeah, it's whatever, dude.
It's or a better way to label it is if like your whole entire life is walkable. Like for me, my entire life is walkable.
Yeah, I really freaking envy that. I think that in a perfect world, Crestwood could be walkable. I mean, it's technically walkable.
I was going to say, if there's
does.
a good grocery store over by the filling station, you probably could walk.
Yeah, dude. If Trader Joe's shows up in Avondale, it's game over.
Wait, is that a thing?
I know,
you just
but
want
I'm just
it to be.
saying.
And let me just go back to clear my name. I love sourdough and I want to make it. So let the viewers know.
Bring sourdough downtown.
Gracie and I lived in Highland Park for a second, and I feel like Highland Park is even more so like downtown than
But people who live in Highland Park, I feel like say downtown, right?
Yeah. They would definitely consider themselves, because you could technically walk over to 5 Points from like Highland Park, or like pretty freaking easily. Honestly, if I were to go on a run whenever I lived in Highland Park, I'd be like in 5 Points within a mile, I think.
Yeah, but when I lived in 5 Points, I would force it to be walkable, but like I'm about to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't exactly easy or that enjoyable.
5 Points is just one of those places where,
because I was like up the hill by the Vulcan. I would just like walk down. It was a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, downtown. When Gracie and I moved from Highland Park, we bought it, and we were kind of like looking at different places in downtown too, because like downtown's like a comparable like kind of entry level place. You can get like a 3-bed 2-bath or a 2-bed 1-bath, and you can buy a loft in downtown, like an entry level price, just like you could in Crestwood. But Highland Park, ironically enough, was like any house in Highland Park was like $700,000, which is shocking to me.
Yeah,
Considering
really?
everyone there, every house there is like the rent is $600, and there's like 14 apartments in like a tiny freaking every house is just a terrible
That
apartment
is
there.
kind of a weird dichotomy.
It's this weird place because like half the houses are actually apartment buildings, even though they look like houses.
And then the
there's
other
like
half
this
beautiful ornate old mansion.
Right, like gorgeous, historical, and then everyone else who lives there, they're like wall is falling off.
There's like
crappy.
rats and like probably meth inside.
Yeah.
But
Meth.
But anyway, Birmingham is so great.
Everyone should move here.
Yeah, no, it is interesting though, because suburbia is like, I don't know. I just feel like Birmingham, more than most cities I've ever been to, is pretty like segregated in terms of like there's like all these like, if you live here, then it means this about you. If you live here, it means this about you. Like
pretty
whatever.
prevalent. I would say that, which is interesting. I mean, it doesn't like it's not always the case, but that is kind of a thing here.
It was the same way. And whenever I lived in Raleigh, it was the same way. I feel like Atlanta's the same way. I feel like Nashville's the same way. But
so maybe it's just
that's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe
in
it's
Nashville,
just humans.
or sorry, in like New York even. It's just people just love tribalism. Love that for us. No, that's really cool though. That downtown has some cool stuff going on. I think downtown is like genuinely like whenever we were thinking about getting a loft, that the fact that we wouldn't have a yard was like what kicked us out of it. We were like, I don't know if we could do this.
Yeah.
But people like, I learned this other day that have you ever spent much time in Woodlawn?
Not a ton.
There's a strip over there where like rent is actually pretty cheap. Like you could get like an actual like storefront there for like less than $1,000, and the lofts above it though, like they can't fill the spaces on the bottom floor, but the lofts above it apparently have a 10-year long waiting list.
Wow.
Oh
Like
my
there's
god.
like all of the lofts are like these beautiful studio kind of like wide open, industrial looking lofts with rooftop like patio things.
Terraces.
And
Dang.
terraces. But it's
that
in
sounds
Woodlawn.
lovely.
It's literally 1 block away from houses. But there's just these lofts on top of these businesses in Woodlawn, and this like in that little strip where
So
like Woodlawn
interesting.
Theater is and where Woodlawn Taco
crazy.
Cafe used to be and stuff. I also learned yesterday that there is a cafe that operates in the old Woodlawn Cycle Cafe space.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is it?
It's called like Urban something. Herb. It's like Urban with Herb in it. So it's like a tea place. But I literally had no idea. I knew that they tried to do something, but I didn't know it was like still happening, which is kind of crazy.
I'm skeptical.
But I haven't thought about Woodlawn in forever. But since we're talking about all these downtown neighborhoods and things going on in Birmingham, it just came to my mind.
Yeah. Who knows?
what do you think Birmingham's missing downtown?
Great
Store
question.
like Nan, to be honest.
Yep.
There's not really places to shop here.
Okay,
Like, there's not cool stores.
I can't even talk about this casually because this is the hill I die on, and like the bane of my existence is that Birmingham has no downtown shopping district. And shout out to Basic because that was a win.
Yeah.
But like even there's still not even enough foot traffic because like all those nice restaurants right there at dinner time primarily. Anyway, and there's no other retail, so it's like you're not gonna go downtown just to shop at one store. Or maybe you are, but anyway, the point is there's no like hustling and bustling area, and I'm in zero rush to sign a lease. At like I don't want to, but I do think as like out of like passion for Birmingham, I would love to one day be a part. It's just like I don't feel like it's ready yet. me or Birmingham, but
Yeah.
Long-term play.
But long term, I'd love to be a part of creating a downtown shopping district. It like blows my mind. Like we are a huge, very wealthy city. There's so much money here, so much private money too. Like it's not like Huntsville where it's like government. It's like there's so much, but it's all in
Mr. Kodak lives here, like type money.
Yeah. That
but
stuff.
they're like in their own areas. Like they're in Mountain Brook and Homewood, and doesn't matter though. There's plenty downtown too. My point is, there's just not like for such a
Yeah, it's all the Summit. And even the Summit doesn't have like they have some stores that
honestly,
like we would shop at, but
they still like in my mind. I mean, I literally created NAN because there wasn't places I liked to shop in Birmingham. Like I wanted to give people what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people have latched on because they're like, oh, finally, like unique pieces where they're not all kind of looking similar, or it's also not like $600 for a shirt, because that was another thing. I'm like, I could go to these boutiques in certain areas, but like I literally cannot afford it.
Yeah.
And to me, they all look the same.
Yeah.
No hate, no shame.
No hate.
No hate. But anyway, so I feel like it was so comforting to realize that people felt the same way, and I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of the brand, but I also am for sure self-aware enough to know that I just feel like I did it at the right time, because there is truly like nothing else that's like middle of the road, like some higher end pieces, but also some really chill pieces, but like focus on quality, focus on uniqueness, like sourcing from all over. There's nothing.
No, there's like literally no curated
honestly,
shops. Yeah.
There's not. And even when I travel and I go to other curated shops, I really don't want to sound like I'm a hater, because I'm not. I love so many shops, but like even now after starting NAN, I go to these shops and I'm like, this is like such cheap shit. Like this is like, and it's like, I just went to one in Savannah recently, and I was like, I used to love that store, and then now I guess I'm just have a different like standard in my mind. But I went back and I was like, it's basically like they've created just another thrift store.
Yeah.
And it's like these are really the quality, the like, it's just like not.
Yeah.
So I'm biased. I love my brand, but I feel like Birmingham is missing places like that, and just like literally downtown shopping at all. Isn't that crazy that we don't have it?
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. I don't really know exactly like what the deal is here, but
there are plenty of buildings.
Yeah.
There's plenty of space.
One of the biggest things that I think is like the top down issue, not really, because I think it's easy to be like, well, there's just not many people here. Like it's like a bottom to top issue, like and by bottom to top, I mean like the people at the lower income being the people that would own these shops. Because like the people at the top are the people who buy at like service places like this. The people at the bottom are the people who are the shop owners. But the problem is all the landlords in downtown are just holding out for freaking Geico to show up and buy like a 35 office megaplex and turn their old crappy decrepit building into some tech headquarters. And I'm like, genuinely, how much longer will you hold on to this building? Like, I remember looking at downtown during COVID, because I was like, wanted to open up a cafe so bad. And it was like 25-year minimum lease only for this building. And I was like, who do they think that Amazon? Do they think that there's just like 500 Amazons just like dying to open up like? There's no way that a company is ever going to buy your building. Like
I was just talking to a friend about this. Like there has to be building owners that are intentional about the creatives and the like things like retail. Like they just like have to step forward and be all in it. Like they can't expect to make. They are holding. Like it's like there's like, no.
They're holding out for the law firm that's going to post up.
They literally like. For me, I'm like simply put, just like the supply and demand aspect of it, of just like they're making no money off of all of these buildings in downtown, but all like if you drive around downtown Birmingham next time any of y'all do, like you'll see like there's a lot, every single like abandoned building, there's a lot of them. All of them have for lease like property management signs on them. And like all like none of them ever get filled. And I think it's like so interesting to me. Like all of them have been waiting out for a while. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe if y'all dropped rent down, y'all would make money. Like, because the business owner or the building owners are just like waiting, making $0 off of them. And it's like if they would just like drop the rent down to like, you know, $1,000 a month or something like that, they would all get filled in. Like, surely, yeah, you wouldn't be making as much money as like, I don't know who, like Auburn like owns a building in downtown or something. Like maybe like you're not going to make rent from like some like company with like bottomless pockets, but at least like you'll be bringing life to the place. I just feel like the landlord, like like Bo Burnham always talks about in that movie, it's like we're trying to, like one of the worst parts of how America works is like you separate the worker from the means of production as much as you can. I feel like landlords are just so disconnected from like the place. It's just like it's so difficult in downtown specifically.
I have a hopeful story. I just spoke to a downtown landlord recently. He reached out because he said, which I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. He said he had just like walked by a pop-up and he was like, the like energy and
that's sick actually.
Yeah, I know. He was like, anyway, I have a space. And it's where, you know, where Salute is.
Yeah.
There's a retail space next door.
Sick.
And that area is like super fun.
That area is getting fun now.
It is getting really fun. And it's still a close walk to, it's still a close walk to all the other Second Ave restaurants. Anyway, and it's a really great retail space. He even offered like if you just wanted to do some pop-ups in here to just like, and maybe do like a collab with Salute, which would be super cool.
That would be awesome.
So I'm thinking about that maybe like this summer. But anyway, talking to him was super encouraging because he was like, which I don't really know like if I can say this, but he was just like super we didn't even talk numbers. He was just very flexible about a year lease versus 5, and like
sure.
He just was saying the way he spoke was very encouraging because he was like, we're not in a rush to fill the space. We want it to be the right retail, and we want it to be like a community, like fun thing. Like Salute is such a fun vibe. Like, you know, he was just like very intentional, and I was just I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so people like you exist. There's hope.
I was gonna say the guys at Iron Vest Partners, they are the type of landlords that we're talking about. What we want.
What is Iron Vest?
I don't know what that is.
Robert Crook goes to church with us.
Oh yeah.
He founded it, and Jordan Weaver works there.
Yeah,
and a few other people. They are like the curators of Second, is kind of how I think of them.
Really?
So they own a lot of those buildings and lease out a lot of those buildings.
That's sick.
I think Queens Park, wherever, I don't know if that still exists, but
yeah.
They own that building and then a few others all along Second. But they
cool. Shout out Jordan Weaver.
They do a lot of
We didn't have Jordan Weaver
work.
on.
Yeah.
I went to college with him, and he does that stuff for a living.
We should. I'd love to talk to him.
That would actually be a really cool way to, I don't know. I'm all about niching this podcast into making it like the Birmingham radio.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool to if we just like we're part of the cure of downtown.
That would be sick.
I'm really getting big brain right now in my head of like we can start a movement. But
Mccall, what is like the
Julia Fox says to be delusional?
Yes.
Delusional people become what they say they are.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, what?
I was wondering what the dream of NAN is, like the long term.
Oh yeah,
that's a great question. I think a couple of months ago I would have said NAN stores all over the Southeast.
Okay.
Specifically, just the Southeast, I think. But I think now I actually just have quite literally no idea. The thing that I do know that I am really happy to know is that I have totally now understood and created who NAN is at her core, and like making a website helped with this, but NAN is Southern. That is basically me, like, but
sure.
Being from the South, the deep South, very Southern, growing up, seeing my grandfather in like only overalls, working in the garden. My grandmother in pearls. My mom, I only ever saw her in cowboy boots and flowy skirts and like all over the Southeast too. Like I come from tobacco farmers in North Carolina, like just being very Southern, but the other end of it is loving high fashion and loving European fashion, and fashion houses are to me so people don't understand how much their creativity affects like everything.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
There's a bit. Oh, what's that movie? What's the movie where
Devil Wears Prada.
Yes.
Talks about how it goes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's like,
so I heard about this
so
scene in a
true.
movie this week on a podcast. It was Devil Wears Prada. Do you know how to explain the scene?
Do you want to?
You might know it better than me because I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Julia Roberts is the intern for a lady who is like the lead editor at Vogue. Is that right?
Yeah, or Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Both icons.
And she's kind of contemptible about the whole fashion
she
thing.
just like doesn't. She thinks it's very. She's like y'all are on like
y'all
high
go ahead and do that
horses.
thing. I'm gonna go to Target and whatever. And so she refers to like they're on a shoot and they're like choosing between certain outfits or something. And then Anne Hathaway's character refers to the clothes just as stuff. And then the lead editor like gives her the devil's stare. And she's like, this stuff? And she goes on to explain how like high fashion informs like many, many, many years and many, many layers later what Target
it trickles
picks.
down.
Sure.
Yeah, and affects like. Yeah, she like even down to the color Anne Hathaway was wearing. She was like, that's because, anyway.
She explained how Anne Hathaway came to be wearing what she was wearing when she didn't really care about fashion.
Which is such a great point because it's like whether you care or not, it's still true. Like it's still happening. So, and I love that about it. I think it can be a kind of like a toxic industry, but just strictly creatively, it's like I'm just obsessed with it, which was weird. Being super Southern. So anyway,
the long-term vision. So you're creating who NAN is, which is kind of you embodied in a brand.
Yes, it's like I made a video about the website and I'm almost finished, but I haven't finished yet. But I basically want you to be able to scroll and see like a Prada bag and then literally like a pair of overalls. Like I think that's so cool. I think that's NAN. I think that's like I want NAN to be. I just have realized how amazing the South is and how amazing and well made clothing here is, and like we just the history and like the cotton and the denims and even like leathers. Yeah, it's just amazing and I love it. I love being from the South. So anyway, it's like Southern and high fashion together, and basically that's all I know. All I know is that that's NAN. That's me. We're in it for the long haul, but I just don't know. Like I said, I'm not in a rush to have a storefront. I don't even know if that's what will ever happen, but I love this. I think maybe in the next, I like sticking to the pop-ups because like it's often enough, but it's not like every day. It's just fun to create. You get that wait period, and it's like you're creating an experience. You're building anticipation. I also love the low overhead, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
But like maybe one day I'll get a studio and maybe open up like come shop by appointment. I really don't know. I have no idea. But the more I get to know Nan, I'm like, I love her and I want her to be around in Birmingham for a really long time.
Yeah. That's sick.
I think that's cool. I definitely think that like one day you'll have a show somewhere. I think that's the only thing. I'm like that you gotta figure out how to do that. I think that is stuff that's probably like the area of fashion that Gracie has gotten me more into. Gracie's a big fan of high fashion, and she really enjoys watching shows. Specifically, she enjoys watching. Oh my gosh, it's like Jimmy
America's
Choo
Next
or
Top
something
Model.
like No, but we watch like all the shows. But I think it's fascinating. They just came out with fall winter next year. Like those are the shows that are happening right now.
Yeah.
Which I think is so interesting. But yeah, I think
talking about fashion shows.
Yeah, I'm talking about like people doing like the walks. And
Yes.
Like the whole. But it is so cool to me. Like Polo did this one during COVID in a wheat field, like Ralph Lauren did.
Yeah.
And it was just like genuinely the coolest. Like you curate the music, you curate the vision. Like literally every It's one of the few art things that happen, or like, I don't know how to explain that, but like experiences where the artist can genuinely control all five senses. Like the way that like it sounds, the way that it looks, the way that it smells, the way that it like the whole atmosphere is taken up by a show. And I think that stuff is like so beautiful. Yeah. So anyways, you got to throw that in the dream. That's my only encouragement.
Thank you. That helped me to dream even bigger. I will say it's like I'm starting to like open up a lot of like crazy fun creative desires that I think basically, but it's what the biggest relief is that I'm in no rush. I am not in any rush, but like with every passing day, I kind of expand my own like I just want to try new things, and I just like, and I do. That's actually the thing is I'm just like trying more things, more and more and more, and I'm like, whoa, like what if one day blah blah blah, or like what if
sure,
it is really
that's
cool.
So fun.
It's really awesome. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Also, you should follow Jacques Mousse.
Jacques Mousse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fashion house that he's from France, and Simon is his name.
Yeah.
And that label is like, he is like a marketing pioneer. Like people don't understand. I've been like shouting from the rooftops how amazing his marketing is. I mean, honestly, everyone has, but I've found that like people in my actual real life don't know this brand at all.
How do you spell that?
JAC or CQUEMUS. Jacquemus.
Oh yeah, right here. Let's go.
And like the way, honestly, if I could pick two people that have made the biggest impact on NAN, it would be Simon and it would be Charlie XCX. Literally, I created my brand name because so inspired. Like when I had that birthday party, it was literally Brat themed.
I love that.
And I was just like, I don't care how like the whole Brat thing was so overdone, but I was like, I don't care. It actually changed my life. Like that energy she like inspired me to have. I still have it, and I literally changed me. But her I'm not kidding. Her album cover is like, she talks about how she intentionally made it like ugly because the whole point of Brat was like kind of like disturbing, but it's fine because like we're all a little fucked up,
Yeah.
Anyway, she literally used like almost like blurry kind of pixelated Arial font, and at that time I was just like, fuck it, I love that. I literally typed out NAN and Arial. Like my
Arial.
brand is just Arial font.
Yeah.
There is no other. I didn't pay anyone. Not that you would think I would have if you saw it, but I'm just saying like I did not take any journey besides typing it out. Picking the color was fun, but that is literally it. Me and Canva, like anyway. Simon's amazing. The stuff he does with his shows, and obviously Charlie's an icon. But they're very inspiring to me. But that's so true. Everything you're saying about the shows, like, and how much I saw a video today of Tom Ford explaining how being a creative in fashion is actually like when you're at the top, it's actually like so incredibly hard because he's like, I have dates on my calendar years in advance because I know exactly when I have to release, 60 pieces. And so I have to have the sketches by then and the fabrics ordered by then and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. And then you're setting the tone for all trends.
Yeah.
For the coming year. It's just like a crazy world. And I don't think I would thrive in New York in this.
Yeah, I was wondering about, I've been trying to think of how to form this question because NAN also is like your livelihood. You are running a business.
Yeah.
So there's this like practical element to it where like you do have to like live. How do you juxtapose that with trying to follow your creative whims?
Another great question. You guys are full of great questions. This is why you have a podcast.
Thanks.
I would say that okay. Because that's been like the hardest part, and I love to feel in flow of my life, and I love to feel like I just love to be creative. I don't like all the logistics. I don't like to deal with all of the stuff that you have to deal with when you have a business, or even before this, like
taxes,
anything like that. I am just in my head, I'm like, this is not what God intended for humans. We were supposed to walk in the garden naked and unashamed. Like, I hate all the logistics of life. I hate it so much, but they're necessary. Well, yeah, they are.
Order and structure is good.
Myself.
Order and structure is good.
Anyway,
Sometimes,
yeah. But like, so naturally, I really don't like all that. It's so funny though. At my old job, I would ask about business stuff because I just had this feeling I was gonna do something. Whether I would have never said that out loud, but like my gut was like, okay, they let me in on like all their spreadsheets, all their P&Ls, like explained why they do
That's
what
really
they
cool.
do. Yeah, it was like, I am so glad I had that inclination because I look back and I'm like, oh, that was helpful. But anyway, and this might sound a little weird, like I'm like such a true hippie, so but just like go with me here. I would say that like I love naturally being in a very feminine state. Despite wearing my dad's big jackets, like you would maybe not, I'm not showing up in like lace dresses all the time, but like the creative flow that I like to be in, I just like to remain there. And I have realized that because I live alone, I run a business alone, I'm not with anyone, I'm not like bouncing things off of anyone. And so having to do everything put me, like, I realize in also a very masculine place. Like, to me, those logistics we're talking about are like, I'm just like, it's someone else do them. Like, I don't want to do them. Just someone else handle it. Anyway, so I didn't like that at first at all. I was like, this is such a buzzkill. And that was the hardest part, like, of figuring out. Because, like, the whole time I was so confident in what I was doing. But then also, like, the world is not set up for small business owners to thrive. Just so y'all know.
Yep.
Just expect that. Go ahead and expect that.
Yep.
No one's out here, like, holding your hand at all.
Yep.
At all. So I really didn't like that at first, and it was really hard. Like, the first couple months, I would just probably, like, cry once a day, maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's probably accurate. So I was, like, going out, having to learn all this on my own, asking people. It's just a lot. It's, like, not, it's because it's, like, sales tax, like, county tax, city tax, income tax, LLC, now, like, domain, website, all that stuff. And then it's, like, organizing, like, QuickBooks and understanding where your money's going. And like I said, I had zero capital. So this whole thing has been credit, pay yourself back, credit, pay yourself back. But then, like, when I go to these estate sales and literally the boonies, maybe I can't use a card. So then I had to set up business accounts and then Venmo, but then that gets tricky in QuickBooks. It's just like figuring all this out was like such a buzzkill to me. But again, you just do it because if this is your dream, you just do it. Like, if this is how you have
make
to
it work.
provide for yourself, you just do it. So I think once I got through those first months, basically, like, once I realized, like, the first couple months are going to be a shit show and, like, that's okay. I was then, like, I just accepted it for what it was. Now I think it's easier because certain things are, you've already done them. So it's like, I still don't like doing in tax season coming up. I'm like, I need to get this over with right now because there are so many tiny, tiny little things that go into it that I had no idea for business owning. And, like, some of my, like, even friends who don't, like, they still ask me, like, oh, do you do this full time? And I'm like, yeah. And, like, it's just to know that's, like, a perfectly normal, valid question. It's just, like, in my mind, I'm like that tear emoji. 'Cause I'm like, y'all have no idea what I've been doing in the background. Like, I'm posting these fun videos, but, like, it's just, like, it really is a grind.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, there was no balance at first. Now I feel like I can compartmentalize easier, and I'm like, I'm still creative. I'm still in flow. And you know what? Organizing my weeks. Okay, go with me here again. I'm a hippie. Come with me, everybody. If this makes, y'all are married, this will not make you feel uncomfortable. But, like, I also plan my weeks around where I'm at in my cycle.
Okay.
Because, like, you have a lot of energy one week and then you have no energy, and then
It's actually brilliant.
It is brilliant, but it's hard when, like, I remember having, like, a normal job and thinking, I wish I could do this, but I can't because, like, to be honest, we live in a man's world, and that's totally fine, but you just can't. Men's hormone cycles are 24 hours, so shout out to y'all living the good life every day. Anyway, so I just once I got experience down with the logistics, started organizing my weeks, like on weeks where I have like a ton of energy and I'm feeling great and my skin is glowing, I'm like cranking out videos. And then if I'm crashing and I'm on the couch, that's like inventory, or like I just source and I don't talk to anyone, I don't make any videos, I'm like headphones in. So it's just like that made it easier.
Yeah.
I just made it work for me. That was so long-winded. I'm done with that question.
No, that was great. It
I
was
love
funny.
that.
My wife is in PA school right now, and she just finished her OBGYN rotation. And so last night I was like, what questions should I ask Mccall? And she was studying for a test about
She's like, well.
her all of the female things that she's been studying for the last month. And so she was joking with me that all the questions I should ask had to do with being a female medically. And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, but like, it's kind of, I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
It's so hard, y'all.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
Women don't want to say that, but I'm just saying.
We watch it. I watch it all the time.
Respect, dude.
Do y'all feel like you're like, this is my wife, like on a PMS week, or you're like, this is not my wife. This is just a version of her that like.
Yeah,
you know?
there's like an alter ego that Gracie has. We call her Lola.
Oh my God, you've named her.
Yeah, I mean her roommates named her first, like before I married her.
That's hilarious.
Gracie's whenever she's in Lola mode, she's just like as you can imagine, tired, snappy,
Don't talk
angry.
to me.
Yeah,
Don't do anything.
but I'm like, every once in a while we'll look at her and be like, oh, you're like Lola-ing right now. And but
it makes me cherish the non for Claire, whatever Lola is, moments. It makes me cherish those moments.
Me too.
more.
For myself, I'm like savoring.
I'm like, oh, you
every
actually
moment.
like me today. That's awesome. You're actually grateful that I did the dishes today.
I feel like that's one of the funny parts about marriage too. Especially, I mean, I've been married for a few years now, so it's not like nothing. Very rarely is something like new. We talk about this sometimes on the podcast, but a lot of times, marriage just can become this like flow state of like you kind of. It's kind of like with a roommate. Like you just kind of operate.
coexist.
You know how it works, but I think for like me to be able to get into it. I don't know. Gracie and I are like we're not like a married couple who like fights or something like that. Like I would say like we're pretty chill. We're not.
We're really chill people.
Yeah, we're like. So for her to just like be able to recognize whenever that kind of stuff is happening, like the female stuff. And I'm just like, all right, chill. Like I'm gonna go. You do your thing. I can do whatever you want.
You got it.
Yeah, I'll do the dishes. We're chilling, you know. And then some weeks, Gracie's like,
smart man,
wants to be the best wife in the freaking world. Do all the chores, like scratch my back. All the fun parts about being a husband. So
I think because it's almost like every time you start, because it's all it is just hormones rising and crashing. So like once you realize, like, okay, this is what it is. Like, to me, when they start to plummet, I'm like, that's not real. Like, that's why I say, like, that's not me. That's not me.
Sure.
That's not me. Like,
it's like a character.
It's literally a character. My truest self is when everything's just wonderful and rising and amazing. Mm-hmm. And, like, I want to, like, literally walk in front of a bus, but it's like, that's not me.
Sure.
That's just the hormones. So once that's like a life hack, it's like,
life hack.
It's not real.
Once you start like kind of accepting multiple personality disorder,
your life becomes amazing. Everything just like works out.
It happens. Everybody has MPDs to a certain extent or another. But it is so interesting. I had a friend, I can't say who this is, but because their mom has
a listener.
Multiple personality disorder or it's called borderline personality, BPD. That's what it is.
Okay.
And all Christmas long, this girl and her husband found a Reddit page on specifically mothers with BPD during the holidays. And guys and girls on this Reddit page were just posting stories of like their moms like BPD servicing.
That's crazy.
And it like helped them so much. So to your point, as soon as you like admit it and recognize it, then you can just kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
Well, even if it's someone else, like your mother who doesn't. Yeah.
Right. I do feel the need to clarify on this podcast that we're not comparing women to multiple personalities.
No.
Even though you might be onto something, but
No.
They are.
Yes, very different ideas. Sorry.
Two
Not,
different things.
They're actually.
I'm not claiming that girls on their period have borderline personality disorder.
Because I just.
Yes.
That is. Y'all heard that, right? That is what he said. I'm just kidding.
Disclaimer.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's like pretty close. To
Yeah,
be
Nan
honest.
is not advocating the misuse of BPD
No.
or period struggles.
No, but Nan is all about women in business, and
Fact.
Come on.
I'm just saying it's just like not the same. Like, but again, once you realize, like, I will literally not take a meeting if I know I'm gonna be just feeling like shit. It's like you feel
Sure.
like shit and you can't control it. So why would you?
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
So shout out to just like
I've
scheduling.
literally never I've never heard of someone planning their life around like I can't remember what word you used around your like hormone cycles. I think is what you said, but that is literally genius.
No,
Yeah.
it's like catching on in the world of women, but it's not like so many people still don't. And not only that, I work out differently depending on the week. I eat differently, sleep differently. Like once you realize how much it affects, then you're like in control,
Right.
you know? And we don't have to keep beating
We
this
should do
topic
that
to
too.
death, but like,
I mean, like, there's like habit stacking. They talk about this in Atomic Habits or in the man's world thing. Like, I remember struggling a lot whenever I started grad school and working because I was like, I would have, like, specifically, there's like tasks at my job that I really enjoy doing. And then there's tasks at my job that I really don't enjoy doing. And I remember when someone explained to me, do the things that are necessary and hard in the morning, and like whenever you have more energy, and then do the things that are necessary and easier
100%.
in the afternoon. And I did that, so now I do like computer work in the morning and meetings in the afternoon because I love meetings, I love people.
yeah, so you already do what I do, but I do it weeks at a time.
Yeah, it's kind of like you. I didn't know that men are on a 24-hour like cycle, like you said, but that totally makes sense because by the afternoon I'm like not motivated at all.
Yeah.
Yes. So
You know?
like that, like
Yeah.
1 to 3 p.m. or 2 to 4 p.m. for y'all is like a week for us.
Yeah, that sucks.
But then like morning amazing energy, that's also a week for us. So it's just like
I love that we're talking about this on the podcast right now. I would never.
I'm
guessed
like
that we would be-
wrestling through this a little bit right now. Part of why I asked you about the juxtaposition between like business owner and creative is I have both of those people in my brain. I'm like weird that I really love like analytics and data and science and business, but I also like have to be creative or else I'll not want to be alive. And my job, I work in insurance, and there's really genuinely nothing creative about it other than maybe like the way that I get to.
Genuinely, we've scraped the barrel dry. We don't think there's anything creative.
It's like, can you consider like having conversations on the phone that are like sort of sales oriented to be creative? It's like maybe you can like. Maybe you can be creative in that. My office, I like my office. I think my office is cool.
A whole office even better.
Yeah. So I have my own space. That's cool. But other than that, like the work that I do every day, not creative. So then it's like, well, I guess I'll just like start a creative project and then we do word of mouth. So we have a podcast.
Yeah.
So like that can be my creative thing. And one day, I think being a business owner, inevitably there's a creative element to it, and I think that's what I love about like one day I want to own my own business, whatever that is. And I think that's what I love about business is like the creativity part of it, like making something,
Yes.
building something. But as an employee, there's not that much making and creating.
Yeah. That's really true, and I have enjoyed that element very much. Like I didn't think I would have this much fun because it's very intuitive. It's very like, you know, you try something, then you pivot and you hear what people say and you keep doing that, or then you pivot again. And like, it really is fun. Like you are totally a maker. Like for the first 6 months, I honestly could not even enjoy NAN at all. Cause you're just like in the weeds. You're like, is this an actual real life thing, and will it be able to pay my bills? Because also I quit my job, like again there was like so many things that happened all at once this summer, and so I took a risk, but I knew I had a safety net. But like I would have never quit my job when I did. Like NAN was not stable in literally any way. I had only done like I think I had done 2 pop-ups, and then I was like, if the third one keeps growing and keeps getting better, I'm just going to quit. And so that happened, and I did. I don't really recommend that, but I was like, they do say, like, don't have a plan B or else anyway.
Yeah.
Where's I even going?
There's got to be like a scrappiness to make it work.
Totally. There really does. Oh, yeah. Anyway, it is very creative, and like, oh, yeah, for the first 6 months, I couldn't even enjoy it. But towards the end of the year, like wrapping up the year in December, I was like, I finally could just like I was like looking back at the year, and I was like, whoa. Yeah. I actually created something out of literally nothing. Like it is very creative. It's very it is also scrappy. But yeah, it's just like that is a wonderful element that I didn't foresee. I thought all the creativity would be in the clothing, but like it's really with people and with branding, it's like very creative.
Okay, so talk to us about like moving forward, like 2025. Like what do you have on the calendar? What are y'all doing this year?
Okay, I actually have a lot, and I've been meaning to make a video about all the stuff coming up, so I probably will do that too.
Right, it's happening right now. Go.
This is a video. Yeah. I'll repost it on NAN at nan.curated. First of all, I've been teasing a website drop.
Yep.
Or launch, and I've been saying the 1st of February, which is tomorrow. That is tomorrow.
Okay.
So my Friday night will be finishing up the website. I'm pretty certain I will launch it tomorrow. What I'm super excited about for the website is that the pop-ups are like, they have pieces that might be like super fun and casual. Like, I don't know, today I sourced some like really, really vintage Champion football jerseys.
That's sick.
Or there might be like a Dolce & Gabbana purse or like a silk party dress, whatever. So it's like a whole spectrum. But I've been wanting to be able to ship to people. And in addition to that, there are certain higher end designer pieces that are like no one's coming in to spend like $1,000 on a purse. So there's just like kind of a yet. So I was like, there might be a little bit of a disconnect in that way. So that's where all those pieces will live, is the website.
Okay.
So like I have an amazing collection of designer purses that will be the first drop tomorrow. Also just like some denim, some classics.
Yeah.
Denim kind of jackets, cool jeans, whatever. And designer shoes and cowboy boots. Those will be the website staples.
Okay.
I also am creating a bridal collection.
Cool.
Which is super exciting.
Yeah.
I have so many engaged friends too, which I'm like, I can't wait to get it out there to the world. But I've been collecting that for a really long time, and I think I'm almost ready. So I think I'm going to launch the website tomorrow.
Let's go.
Tomorrow. And then I have a pop-up February 15th, just a normal monthly pop-up, Valentine's Day weekend. And then after that, I think I'm going to launch the bridal collection, which will be available on the website. And I'll have an option to say like, because those pieces are like a big deal. So if you want to try them on, just to make an appointment and come try them on.
Cool.
So that's fun. And then basically, I haven't even said this. How NAN operates is one pop-up a month at Zephyr Barbershop is like guaranteed.
Standard. Okay.
Baseline.
But a really fun thing is that in April, I'm going to go, it was a family trip to Italy, but I am hijacking it and making it a sourcing trip. So I'm going to source all over Italy. I'm going to go to Naples and Rome and Florence and Milan and Venice and source and like bring back suitcases, just like actually suitcases. I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. I know. So I'll be gone, but I'll be gone the first 3 weeks of April. I think I'll be able to come back and still do one April pop-up. But like basically the next 2 or so pop-ups will be Italy stuff that I brought
Italy
back.
straight into the summer.
So cool.
May and June is going to be
incredible.
Yeah.
Like I want to find like vintage Italian bikinis and like cute, like they're just like they're brands that are expensive here, but they're so common there. They're like not as expensive.
Right.
Just like Moschino or like D&G, they're just everywhere. I just can't wait to find a bunch of stuff. So I'm really excited.
Cool.
And then the rest of the year. The only other thing I can think of is in June or maybe end of June, beginning of July, Nan will turn 1.
Wow.
And I want to have a big freaking party.
Oh yeah.
Like birthday party.
Truly bigger than any birthday party I've ever done for myself. I want just like a really fun party. So if y'all have any ideas, or go ahead and text everyone in your contact list.
Yeah.
Nan's having a party this summer.
Got it.
This is genuinely so cool that you're going to have 2 more, and then you're literally going to get to go. Well, February, March.
Yeah, 2 more.
And then you're going to get to go to like one of the coolest places that you could possibly shop vintage at.
I know. And like they
That is
say,
so dope.
they say it's all about like kind of just like word of mouth and connections
Word of
there.
mouth.
So like shut up.
Shout out to us.
That was intentional. Yeah.
Right.
Because they have all their like fleas, like their markets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they say to just like talk to people. Like you literally never know if like some sweet old woman you're talking to, her like son-in-law has like a vintage warehouse. Like they're just like talk to people.
I never really thought about that. I lead a trip with the college administrator that I work at to Budapest every single year. I've never thought about thrifting in Budapest, but I bet that'd be freaking sick.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna do that.
You
We have
totally
like
should.
2
I don't
off
know if I've
days.
thrifted abroad before.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Well,
But
I
like,
guess
you think about
Banff
Eastern
would technically
Europe.
count.
Well, Hungarians get really mad at you when you call Budapest Eastern Europe, but so Central Europe. But
Right.
yeah, Eastern Europe, like factory stuff. Oh man, I could get into
Crazy.
some workwear in Hungary. I'm definitely gonna check that out
You
whenever
totally
I'm there.
should.
There's a guy there named
Totally
Anthony Vasquez, who genuinely I might take the podcast stuff and just so I can interview Anthony.
Please.
But he is an artist that moved over there, and
Oh, that's so cool.
I like he would. One day, I hope no one ever hears this that's in his studio because he's technically like not supposed to be a Christian in the studio, but he's like a missionary and he moved over there, but he's a full-time artist.
Oh,
He's
wow,
not like a
that's
missionary
so
that like
cool.
goes into
an
Yeah.
college
accountant
campuses or whatever.
a
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, he's like an artist, and back in 2020, him and these people were renters at like a studio in Budapest, and they got so mad at the guy that was like the guy who leased this studio spaces to him that him and a buddy bought an old warehouse and turned it into a studio, and he has like genuinely one of the coolest things. But I
that's
think
really
about that,
cool.
like the access to like an old factory in that city. Like Budapest is so random because it was designed by the same guy who designed, or the city was designed originally by the same guy who did the urban planning for Prague and Vienna and Paris. So it's like a beautiful old city, but it's super cheap because Hungary is like really poor.
Yeah.
But it looks like, think like super old like London vibes or something. But it's like
It's so cool. It's
Yeah.
built around a river, and there's like a
Yeah.
hilly mountainous side, and then there's like a really flat side.
like city side.
Oh, that
It's
sounds
like
beautiful.
freaking cool. So I don't know. I'm just like thinking like maybe there will be some warehouse type stuff because there is a bunch of like worker like kind of blue collar vibe
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
there.
I was gonna say
And
I
probably
love
like
old
between the
workwear.
city and the airport. I felt like was more of the industrial area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, I'm talking about myself now, but that's so cool that that you'll get to do all that stuff this year with Nan, and I think that'll make for like such a fun summer.
Yeah.
and stuff. So be on the lookout, guys. Nan's got a lot of stuff coming in 2025. They had a bunch of cool stuff happening in 2024, and you heard it here first from the one and only owner. So yeah, we are all about Nan. We're all about
Heck yeah.
all the future things.
Queen Slay,
You know what? Hell yeah.
if I may.
You know what? Hell yeah.
You may.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Thanks,
McCall,
guys.
thanks so much for being on. I mean, it was like genuinely such a fun time talking about all these things.
I had a lot of fun.
Just want to, like, before we wrap up, is there anything else that, you want to talk about that we didn't get to talk about?
I mean,
Where can people find you?
Ooh.
great question. Another one. You can find me on Instagram. Nan.curated.
This comes out a week from today
Yeah.
for context.
Yeah, we have like 13 episodes this weekend, so we'll see.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find me on Instagram. I probably should be on TikTok. I'm not. Maybe one day. But
If it doesn't
Gotta
get
make
banned.
sure it-
oh, and then my website will be up tomorrow.
Literally
so that'll be
tomorrow.
link in bio. Yeah.
Yeah, if we'll link all the socials for her and the website, definitely. Give that a listen. But yeah, anyways, guys, thanks so much for listening.
Thanks, y'all.
Always a pleasure.
y'all do that every time? This at the end.
Meh.
Welcome to the secret segment where you only get to listen if you played it to the very end.
And you did, so here, welcome.
All right, so we're going to talk about secret things now.
Oh my god.
Yes. We officially know that McCall's never listened to a full episode.
Oh no!
So
But I listened to most of Kellen's.
thank you. Kellen, you weren't interesting enough
No,
for
he
McCall to listen
actually
to all of it.
He
so.
was. I just.
Or maybe you didn't wait till the very end. So, yeah, we usually say bye, hit a secret, bang, we're here now.
Whoa.
There's these two Australian
this.
guys, Lachlan and Jackson Fairburn. They have a podcast called Fair Enough. Huge inspiration for why we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And they do a secret segment. I thought it was hilarious. When I
No,
heard that
this
first
is
time.
awesome.
So here we are. Okay, so secret stuff about NAN. You like work with celebrities.
This is. Oh. Yeah. Well. Okay.
And you're not allowed to talk about this, but we're talking about it.
Okay,
It's a
okay,
secret segment. So
So, are you talking about the Anya Taylor-Joy?
sure, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, like if there's more,
Like, were
I
you-
was just gonna
were
give
you
you space to
serious
talk
or-
about. Oh yeah, I'm being serious.
No. Okay.
I don't
want you
know
to-
anything about what y'all are talking about.
I don't. I think you might have just said that, but I actually.
Yeah, no, I know you did.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I want to hear about it.
So.
I want you to like be able to have full right to just absolutely like be a cheese ball right now. Like I'm telling you,
Okay.
you can gush.
Okay,
Be like,
okay.
I felt like a monster, like a
Yeah.
beast, like a living
Well-
legend.
well,
whenever a
let me
celebrity hit
just-
my DMs.
Well, this is. She didn't, but.
Okay.
So what happened was, she married one of my friend's brothers, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Okay.
Is this the girl from Queen's Gambit?
It is.
Okay.
And okay, this is me.
Wait, fact? No way. I
Yes.
like love that show. I didn't know that that's who
yes,
it was.
Yes, I literally. Oh, just ripped my jeans some more. I literally rewatched the show to be excited that my clothes are going on her body. Like I was
Wow.
like watching her and like, oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, I have been gushing. But so yeah, she married my friend's brother. And my friend's name is Charlotte. She lives in Birmingham. She's wonderful. She came to a pop up, and you know everything. There's this one coat that kept just sitting there, pop up after pop up, and I was like, I thought this would be gone like the first drop because it's so cool and vintage and whatever. But this is why I say everything goes to its right person, like in its own timing, because Charlotte bought it way like. I was literally not even going to bring it to that one. I was like, honestly, fuck this coat. I started looking at it. Anyway, she bought it. And she wore, so Anya and her husband, I actually think you say Anya. No, not Anya. I don't know. Charlotte said it and I was like, wait, it's not Anya? I'm just going to say Anya. Anyway, Anya and her husband just bought a house in Italy. Charlotte and her now fiance went to visit. She wore the NAN coat. And Anya was like, she was like, this coat is amazing, whatever. And Charlotte like told her, actually Anya's exact words were, the coat is swaggy as hell, which I immediately knew I loved her because she's the face of Dior and she called my coat swaggy as hell. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I was
that's awesome.
like, I love this woman. Anyway, and then like my friends texted me that they were like, I was like, oh my God. And then I was just joking. I was like, so like, what are the odds? Like, can I send her stuff? And I kind of just like dropped it. And then they texted me again the next day and they're like, these words actually came out of her mouth. She said, Charlotte was like, Mccall, Anya stalked you. She stalked Nan. And she was like, Mccall is so cool and so hot. and like that she loves Nan so much. And I was like, you're joking. Those words didn't come out of her mouth.
Not real. No freaking way.
Cap.
I was like, no.
That's crazy.
She's hot and she's cool. Like, you're joking.
Right.
Anyway, so then I was like, okay, Charlotte, like, I have to send her a NAN package right now. And she was like, okay, like, and this is why I say it wasn't, I would have had literally no way to send this to Anya if it weren't for Charlotte. But Charlotte was like, I can't give you her address, but if you give me the box, I'll send it, you know,
Yeah.
for privacy's sake. Duh. So I was like, okay, totally. And then the fires in LA happened. So she's been kind of, she was like in some other state and I didn't know if she was like, they might go back to Italy. I don't really remember where they are, but she was like, I'm going to personally send it whenever they're settled where they are, and I'm going to tell my brother, like, this is coming. This is for, okay. I also packed the best stuff for her. An amazing vintage Roberto Cavalli set that it's her complexion. She's like the only person in the world that the color will look good on her. It made me look literally ill. It was terrible.
Wow.
She's going to look gorgeous. I can't even, and it's going to fit her perfectly because I literally studied her dimensions on her measurements on the show. I did like a cashmere sweater, like some old, some orange tab Levi's.
Oh, wow.
And I sent the note, like, for a little touch of the South. I was like, I don't even know if she might, I have no idea her background, but I just like was adding a bunch of all random stuff, like a party dress, whatever. And then I sent her husband a like vintage Letterman jacket that I sourced in Paris, and then another silk shirt that is technically man's, but I was like, figured y'all could share it, whatever. So I don't even know if she's gotten it yet. I don't know where she is, but
hope this sends you into a world in LA.
Yeah.
People. That would be so cool.
Amazing. Because I am pretty much 100% confident she would not post, because she literally just posts like Dior, like at like she like is an ambassador, you know, she's at the freaking Met Gala, like
it's a commercial account.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna post, but my hope is that A, she just like loves the pieces, and B, someone says like, oh, I love that, and she's like, this girl from Alabama that has this business sent me this.
Oh my gosh.
And I can be like, and that's why it's like, honestly, another reason I wanted a website up, just so there can be just like something that
place.
Yeah.
A landing place.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually so cool.
That's crazy.
I really need to get you in contact with my friend Tucker. He does stuff that's like similar to you. He does true vintage. Do you know what that is?
He's like a man version of you.
Yeah.
True.
I had lunch with him yesterday. True is like, no, true vintage is like a type of vintage that's like, I think it's like pre-1965 is considered like true vintage or something like that.
That's what his brand is called.
No,
does he live here?
His brand is Vince Stoke. It's he lives here. He goes to Broomfield, Massachusetts, which is where it's like a big
cool. Because I was thinking in my head, maybe I've seen him at the estate sales I go to. Cause I see
honestly, he actually he's like super tall,
very tall, salt and pepper hair.
Yeah, he has dark hair.
He's
gray,
like really tall,
super tall.
I know him.
Yeah,
well, I've seen.
He's at like every single estate sale, but he
so funny.
He like early early high school, he was like selling sneakers and stuff.
That's so cool.
And then now he's like doing like old military stuff.
His girlfriend Eliza is also friends with like
Anna
and stuff like that. So
they're in the Birmingham world.
Y'all are sort of in adjacent circles.
But he is very similar to you. He's been doing Vinstoke for a long time, and he has guys that from Japan that come over to Birmingham, but they have came to Birmingham before, but he has had guys from Japan come to America, and they do these like big road trips like to find vintage.
Wait.
That's the
cool.
only reason that he has ever wanted to have a space in Birmingham is because he wants to have space for these Japanese guys whenever they're coming through to just like stop in. But it's like this weird thing of like, it's not really worth it to have a space because
that's so interesting.
Same kind of thing where it's like the
overhead
jackets are like, I mean, if you find like an old like Vietnam jacket, it's like I think Tucker's okay with me talking about this on here. I don't know. But like he sold his last one for $1,800. Like it's like some of this stuff is just like actually insane. But you can't just like pop in on a Saturday after like at Pepper Place and be like, oh, I'm going to pay $1,800 for a vintage Vietnam jacket.
Right. You definitely have to find and that's why, so another element that people don't know about. So this is perfect for the secret. Secret time.
Yes.
What do you call it?
Secret segment.
Secret
segment. Okay. Sorry to belittle it by calling it secret time. That felt like a child
secret
thing.
time.
Secret time.
I also have basically asked anyone I haven't even asked. I feel like it's just come up. Like I have friends who used to work in Nashville or have connections in New York or LA, and they with like stylists, and they actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they've just offered to be like, hey, you should DM her and you can use my name, whatever. Because I actually went down to Mobile and I styled for a documentary, which was really cool.
That's sick.
It was like the best experience, and I was like, whoa. People always ask me, do you want to be a personal stylist? And my answer is hell no. I don't, because you have to, it's very intimate. You have to know someone. I don't want to get to know all these people and know their lifestyles and know them. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Unless it were like I had one like celebrity that I was styling. That's totally different. But like a personal stylist, I'm not interested. But the movie was actually incredible. I was like, this is so, the way they. I mean, I had no idea about film and filmmaking, and like. I felt that was like probably the most accomplished I've ever felt in my life, because you do so much for the film.
Yeah.
Like, it is such
literally.
and I was not supposed to do as much as I did, but they like needed more, and so we kind of like I was just like, they didn't know that was my first movie ever.
Yeah.
But they were like, you killed it. I was like, okay.
That's cool.
Anyway, so I do like styling, but I've like DM'd these stylists, and some things have come of it, like that job, and then other times people are like, okay, cool, whatever. And then like, for example, this one reached back out months later, and she was like, hey, and she styles like, Luke Grimes, who plays in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
He did a collab with Carhartt. She styled that whole commercial.
Oh, cool.
Like, she does like amazing work. She DM'd me and she was like, hey, I'm going to be in New York Fashion Week, and I'm also going to host a Verizon suite in New Orleans. Basically, I'm going to be around all these photographers, all these models, all these celebrities. I would love to wear some NAN pieces for press and be able to like tag you. And I was like, oh my God.
What?
I literally was
awesome.
like, I'm crying as I read this. Not actually, but
Yeah.
I probably could have, because it was just so, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even, because like you're doing it, you're making money, you're putting yourself out there, but like for someone to reach out and say that is like, whoa, I actually have good pieces. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's like imposter syndrome all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so stuff like that is, I did post actually, so it's not really a secret, but I posted I sent her like a freaking huge box full of stuff. She got to pick some, and but that'll be like she'll just return it, and she was so sweet and helpful, like helping me figure out like contracts for that kind of stuff, because she's like, people will really screw you over, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do kind of dabble in that kind of stuff, but I would love to perhaps, like I when you asked earlier what long term for NAN, I think the monthly pop-ups are I want that to be around for a really long time. But I think personally for Mccall, I would love to maybe, like, there's a stylist who styles Ella Langley in Nashville, and I'm like, I'm obsessed with what she does.
Yeah.
She creates the freaking coolest looks, so maybe I'd want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think touring with a band too would be cool. There's this girl. Her name is oh my gosh, the freaking lead singer for Krungbin, or the bassist for Krungbin. They call her Leezy. Laura Lee. That's her name. But Laura Lee she only has let like one person. I was listening to a podcast with her because she was on a fashion podcast in New York. Do you listen to Krungbin? The artist? Okay. They're I don't know. They're kind of like a psychedelic rock artist that's like, and she's like the icon front woman of it. There's no like singer. It's just
Gotcha.
like bassist, guitarist, drummer. Anyways, you've definitely heard all their music because everyone plays it everywhere, but nobody knows who they are.
Gotcha.
But anyways, Laura Lee wears these like crazy outfits whenever she plays. And this fashion like podcast, she took it because she like never takes podcasts, but she loves fashion. Like, she'll never take a podcast to talk about her music, but she'll take a podcast to talk about fashion.
Yeah.
And she was somehow, there's like this one girl that's like that, like she only trusts this one person.
Yeah.
It's like this very like intimate space, I guess.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, and I'd rather build that deep intimacy and trust with one person and like give that my all, and that feels so rewarding, versus like personal styling is just like, girl, no, like, sorry, you're gonna look great at this local event, but like, or not.
You're
even,
not trying to work with Barbara Sue
not
in
even
Mountain
that.
Brook.
Yeah, like, which that.
Barbara Sue.
And they had
Mccall, my grandmother, my granddaughter.
There's this shop
graduating from
downtown
Spain
called
Park next month.
NAN.
my niece is getting married. Yeah, no, and they do have stylists, and that's like wonderful. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that trust. I think it's just like so cool.
That'd be really cool. Hey, well, there it is. There's your secret segment, everybody.
Secret time.
Seriously.
That was fun. That was like a thrill. That was
I
thrilling.
love that. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Hey, we'll shout out that person that's going to be at a Verizon suite in New Orleans, whatever
Yes.
that means, and then also the other thing that she said, and Anya, the girl from Queen's
And
Gambit,
that
the
other
chess
thing that
player.
she said.
Shout out to all that I said.
We loved this episode. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a great old February, and come to Nan's next pop up, which is on February 15th.
Saturday. Woohoo.
Rock and roll. All right.
See
Cheers,
ya.
guys.
Bye. Wow.
That was awesome.
That was so fun.
Let's go.
I love podcasting.